Hey, JK here, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. With week 9 in the books, we are officially more than halfway done with fantasy football as well as the regular season NFL. But there were a lot of big performances, big headlines coming out of week 9. First of all, CJ Stroud absolutely went off. We'll be talking about him later, unfortunately. Another big time performance, Josh Dobbs. Traded earlier in the week, never took a snap in practice, didn't even know who he was throwing it to, came out with a win. Dak Prescott, big name, big receiver names, lots of passing yards, not enough yards to get the win. Life of a Cowboys fan. Not me, I'm a Washington Red Potatoes fan. But something else I want to talk about. May not be as sexy, and it might actually bring joy, no ill will, but Danny Dimes might be out. Are the Giants going to officially say, you know what, Danny Dimes, we're done with you? Is Tyrod Taylor finally going to get a fair shot? Are they going to bring in Colin Kaepernick? All mysteries. Now we'll revisit some of these names as we talk about how week 9 went for JK's football teams. We're going to start with the Majestic Juggernauts. This week I lost 101-74, bringing my record to 5-4. I'm still second overall in the division and third overall in the league. Now, 101-74 sounds like a pretty decent score, especially in a standard scoring league. It's no PPR or anything like that. However, when I tell you my opponent had CJ Stroud, and my opponent had CJ Stroud to score 51 points for him, yeah, you heard me right. 101 points total, 51 coming from one player. Going into this game, including week 1's performance, which was the lowest of the season for Stroud, he was averaging 18 points, and he was projected 18 points in this game. If you don't count week 1, he's averaging 20 points a game. Nowhere near 51, and nowhere near enough to beat me by almost 30 points. I know it was like 27, but still, that's almost 30. That's not cool. Had he only scored what he was projected, or even his average, not counting week 1, had he scored 20 points, I would have won. But shoulda, coulda, woulda, never wins you games. Some of the guys that were trying to help me win the games included Jalen Hurts with 29 points and Taysom Hill with 18 points. Some of the guys that were not trying to help me at all in any way, shape, or form, Darrell Henderson Jr. with 2 points, Josh Downs with 1 point, and the Giants defense with -1. I know, I snuck that in last week as a suggestion and a sneaky pick, and I was really wrong. So, if you don't want to listen to me anymore, I completely understand. I don't even want to listen to me anymore at times, especially this week. Why did I think the Giants were going to be a good pick? Speaking of the Giants, we'll go ahead and jump to the adds and drops. The adds this week did unfortunately include that Giants defense that did very poorly, as well as Cam Akers and Taysom Hill. The drops included Jonnu Smith, who, of course, when I play him, he doesn't do well. When I drop him, he wants to go off. So, that's my luck. As well as Jameson Williams and Romeo Doubs. Looking ahead to week 10, I hope to snap my 2-game losing streak for the Majestic Juggernauts. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump to the Vince McMahon Football Club, where I again lost 121-118. It was that close. My record now sits at 6-3, and that did snap my 5-game winning streak. I'm still second overall in the division and third overall in the league. My leading scorer this week was Jalen Hurts with 30 and Taysom Hill again with 18. On the opposite side, Josh Downs only got me 1 point. Very disappointing. Had he performed anywhere near like he has been the last 4 weeks, I would have won. The adds this week included Taysom Hill, Chuba Hubbard, Tyler Boyd, and the Vikings defense. And the drops included the Buccaneers defense, Jonnu Smith, terrible drop, Kirk Cousins, and Curtis Samuel. 1 game more hurt me, but the Vince McMahon Football Club will absolutely be back next week looking for a win. Now we're going to move to the Party Time Party Boys. This week I lost 149-92. Huge loss, and was also the blowout of the week. Congratulations. With my record being at 5-4, I am still second in the division, but 5th overall. I'm also on a 2-game losing streak, so we definitely have to change that. The guys that were trying to help me come up with a win included Taysom Hill with 20 points, Mark Andrews with 17 points, and Patrick Mahomes with 15 points. And some of the guys that were not trying to help me at all included Josh Downs with 2 points, the Bills defense with 1 point, and Michael Thomas with 0 points. Not one reception. That's disappointing. But I guess if Taysom Hill was doing so well, then Michael Thomas couldn't have done so well. So I would say it evens out, but it doesn't. That sucks. The singular add and singular drop this week, strictly for injury purposes and bye-week purposes. I added Geno Smith and dropped Kirk Cousins. Having already talked about 3 of my teams and all 3 of them losing, the last one we have to talk about is the deranged Easter Bunny. Are they going to bring it home and give me at least one win this week? They absolutely will. I won 199 to 179, bringing my record to 6-3, and I am actually first in the league. That's awesome. I'm also on a 5-game winning streak. That's also awesome. I'm the second highest scorer, but I'm only behind by like 30 points. So definitely have a chance to be the top scorer in the league as well as the top team in the league. Some of the guys that have helped me along the way to become the number 1 team in the league as well as one of the top scorers in the league included Joe Burrow with 74 points, the Cleveland Browns defense with 38 points, and Taysom Hill, my boy, with 25 points, and Derrick Henry bringing up the rear with 20 points. And some of the guys that didn't contribute at all for me this week and absolutely could have made me the top scoring team in the league if they wouldn't have laid a goose egg included Josh Downs with 2 points and Michael Thomas with 0 points. I'm not salty. The answer this week included Josh Downs, who did absolutely nothing for me this week, Rashee Rice, who actually did score touchdowns and is actually becoming one of Mahomes' favorite targets, and Myles Garrett, who did get a sack. However, my drops included Max Crosby, who got 3 sacks. So that's 15 points. I mean, I still won, but had I lost by 10 points or less, I'd have been very upset. I also dropped Jacoby Myers and Jameson Williams. Unfortunately, I did go 1-3 this week in fantasy, but I'm sitting first in 1 league, third in 2 leagues, and then 5th in my last league. Still plenty of time left to come back and get in the playoff picture, or even take over number 1 in the league. Who knows? And now we're going to talk about the people who I think you should add. You know, if they're still available, or if you still even want to listen to me after that terrible Giants take last week. We're going to start with quarterback and Danny DeVito. Huh? It's not Danny. Who is it then? Tommy DeVito? Oh. Well, Tommy DeVito then. I mean, he's taken over for Daniel Jones, right? And I know I talked earlier about Tyrod actually getting a chance, but he hurt his rib, so he's potentially done for the season. So, yeah, Tommy DeVito. Not a chance. 1, he plays for the Giants. 2, he's going against the Cowboys. If anything, pick the Cowboys defense if for some odd reason they're still available in your league. God, stay away from anything Giants. Another bad pick that only desperation would lead you to want to add, Carson Wentz. Earlier this week, he signed with the Rams, in case Stafford can't go. I mean, who thought Wentz, after his great part of season with the Eagles, would be a journeyman? I mean, someone may have seen it. I mean, the hot North Dakota State, they're not really even that good. They play bad division, they play bad teams. Someone could have been that. But they were like really quiet through the first, part of the season when he was doing so good. Look, I never said that. No. But then, since then they'd be like, I knew I was right. Yeah, well, I guess a torn ACL and, other crap would do that to you. In any case, Carson Wentz, he can at least throw it up to Cooper Kupp. He can at least throw it up to Hakuna Matata. He can at least give the ball to whatever running back's going to be in the backfield. Darrell Henderson Jr. maybe, at least give it to him on the goal line so he can get me a few points for a touchdown. But in any case, Danny DeVito and Carson Wentz are the best I can give you. I hope you have someone else. At running back, we're going to go with someone who I'm a little more optimistic about because they have a special place in my heart, because they went to a special place in my heart. Keaton Mitchell, or Keaton Mitchell. He went to East Carolina. He plays for the Ravens. And the Ravens have terrible luck with running backs. Mitchell absolutely went off this week. I mean, they were also, leading a pretty good amount, so I'm sure it was part of the second string. But in any ways, East Carolina guy, Mitchell, pick him up if you have the space. Moving to wide receiver, Noah Brown is going to be a guy that you might want to look at in your waiver wire ads. He did have 153 yards this week. However, temper expectations because 75 of those yards came on 1 play. Also, I don't think Stroud is going to throw 5 touchdowns and almost 500 yards every game. I don't know, he might. He might hurt me again. Who knows? But in any case, Noah Brown isn't a terrible look, especially with Robert Woods being out for, whatever period of time. Tank Dell is obviously the main guy in that offense. So, that's also going to be a reason to temper expectations. At tight end, I am going to talk about a guy that I drafted in one league, released, never thought about him again until this week. Whatever his first name is, Okonkwo. Plays for the Titans and never really thought about him because Tannehill is a terrible quarterback. I'm sure he's a wonderful person, but a terrible quarterback and, doesn't look his way. So this week he only had 3 catches for 28 yards from Will Levis. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And now this week it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. There might be a little more flexibility and a little more room for production. So Okonkwo is going to be a guy that you could look at. I don't know how much chemistry him and Will Levis are going to have, but I think it's going to be better and more productive than him and Tannehill. As far as the defense, pick Seattle. They're going against my Washington Red Potatoes, and they stink. Grab Seattle's defense. Well, that does it for the wrap-up, guys. 1-3 overall for the week, but there are a few bright spots we definitely want to focus on. The adds and drops this week, some were good, some were bad, some are going to pay off in the long run. The people I think you should add, take it with a grain of salt. I could be wrong. I was absolutely wrong last week, but, even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes, so stick with me. I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again next week about how my Week 10 went. This is J-Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.